Welcome to today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of today's Homeowner magazine and professional remodeler Danny Lipford.
Well, I'm glad you joined us. We're in the process of a very large interior renovation project where we're looking at some of the hardwood floors that were installed recently. Also, later we'll talk with our heating and cooling contractor who's doing a substantial upgrade to the existing system that includes an inline filter system and a humidifier. Now, one of the reasons for the upgrade of the heating and cooling system, as well as the selection of the hardwood floors, is an allergy problem that exists with the homeowner's children. A lot of people are finding that it helps a lot in those situations to have a hard surface as well as a good filtering system in the air conditioning and heating. And a little bit later, we'll talk with our alarm expert who's in the process of installing the security system. We've got a full show for you here on today's Homeowner. Stay with us. It may surprise you that the hardwood has been installed this early in this project. Well, the reason for that is the hardwood contractor wanted to get his wood inside the house and installed so that it could acclimate well. You know, all wood like this has a little bit of moisture in it, and this gives the wood an opportunity to expand and contract before they start sanding. Now, of course, the painters will have to come back in and finish painting all of the walls, but they'll leave off that last coat of paint on the baseboard until the floors have been refinished. Now, the floors themselves, the oak is a good quality oak and really looks good just like it is. But, of course, they'll be doing their sanding and stain and sealer to get the kind of finish that we want. Now, installing hardwood floor on a wood subfloor like we have here on the second story of this house is fairly easy, and they're in the process of finishing up a bedroom just down the hall.
Hey, Lewis, can you start out some ones, twos down that end right there?
Well, Terry, you're making some good progress here. I'm with Terry Cox, our hardwood floor installer, and I see one of the things you're doing now in progressing on this room is putting down your building felt, I guess, moisture barrier.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what it is. Moisture barrier, 15-pound felt. Keeps any moisture coming up to the floor, which acts like a big sponge. Kill dry down to 8%, and it's very moisture sensitive.
Okay. Now, as far as getting started on a project like this, of course, one of the first things you do is start with a good grade of wood, and boy, this red oak looks great.
Yes, sir. That's a North American red oak, which is real pretty and grain structure. It's all tongue and grooved and matched. Quality piece of wood.
Okay. Now tell us, our viewers, about the little relief cuts and how important that is.
Yes, sir. It keeps your wood stable. It keeps it from moving around, cupping, or crowning. And they mill it into the backside of the wood.
Okay, yeah, it would be a problem as far as the cupping if you didn't have that. Now, as far as starting a project like this, now, of course, I know earlier you chalked some lines to get everything lined up real well and to allow the wood to extend from the rooms out into the hallway. Then where do you start?
You start out by running all your wood male to female, so when you pull it off to it, all the joints match up. You want to keep end joints staggered off.
Okay, all right. Now, of course, you know, one of the things our viewers always love are gadgets, especially a specialty tool like this. Tell us about this.
Yes, sir. This is a pneumatic floor stapler, and it sure makes my work a lot easier. It's quality. It rides along this edge here, shooting the staple into the tongue and groove.
Okay, and this is the actual staple that you use, and really this is a lot better using this than just, say, using just a nail.
Yes, sir. You have a 1/2-inch strap on the top that actually makes the wood more securely fastened to the floor, and you don't run into the dings that you normally would with the hammer and nails. It really just makes it a quality job and speeds it up tremendously.
Okay, give us a demonstration here on how easy it works.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Well, that's pretty effortless there, and boy, it really does a good job on that. And with it extending that far into the subfloor, it's got to secure it real well.
Yes, sir. 2 inches in, it's there. Okay. It will be there.
Well, this is your last room upstairs to do, and then I know you're heading downstairs, which is a different story in putting the hardwood down there because of the concrete floor.
Yes, sir. Totally different story.
All right, let's take a look at it.
All right.
Well, Terry, I can see this system's a lot different than upstairs. You're actually having to put down your own subfloor, and what you used a plastic vapor barrier.
Oh, yes, sir. We use a 6 mil plastic vapor barrier to keep any moisture from seeping from the slab into the wood flooring.
Okay, now what about the original slab? I don't know what kind of shape it was in. What kind of preparation did you have to do?
We come in here and we swept all the debris out, and then we sand the slab down to get any imperfections and open the pores of concrete open, vacuum it, then we're ready to put our adhesive down.
Okay, you put your adhesive down, put your 6 mil plastic on, and then ready to put the 3/4 inch plywood down. Now, upstairs you used a special air tool to nail down all of the wood flooring, and you used a different type of air tool to actually shoot nails down into the slab to secure this.
Yes, sir, we did. It's a pneumatic driven fastening system. It enables us to speed the process up, plus more secure the plywood. Yes,
okay,
sir.
all right. Now, I noticed you left some gaps here. Tell our viewers why you did that on the subfloor.
That's for an expansion joints. In case there's any movement in the wood, it has a way to move. It's not butted up so tight where it can't move.
Okay, good. Now, from this point, I guess you're basically doing the same thing you're doing upstairs as far as installing the building felt and then installing the floor.
Right, we're ready to put the felt and then go hardwood.
Okay. Well, Terry, you've got about 3,000 square foot of flooring to put down in this house. I know you've got plenty to do. And stay with us. Next, Simple Solutions.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and home repair pro Alan Lyle show you this week's simple solution.
You know, there's a lot of situations where you have to remove the toilet from a bathroom. You may be installing a new bathroom floor, or in our case, having to replace a damaged wax ring that's causing some seepage out on the bathroom floor. Now, Alan has some tips for us to make this job a little easier to do by yourself. Alan, tell us about it.
Well, Danny, it's very easy. All you need is a common household drinking straw. Here's what you need to do. Let me take you through step by step. First, pull the toilet. To do that, you want to make sure the water supply is off. Then you want to drain the water that's out of in the toilet right now. Flush, let it drain. Then you need to get the water out of the bowl. Here's a neat little trick. Take a bucket of water, hold it about 1 foot to 1.5 feet above the bowl, and pour that water into the bowl. Gravity will actually force the excess water out of the bowl. Now you're ready to pull it. Remove the nuts that are holding it down on the closet bolts themselves. Pull the toilet up, and then remove the wax ring. Use a putty knife to do that, clean it very well, and then you're ready to install the new ring. Once that's in place, you want to take some brand new toilet bolts, put them on the flange, and then that's where the straw comes in. Cut the straw in half and put one on each side over the bolt, and that will act as a guide to help you put the toilet back in its proper place. Once it's down on the floor, make sure it's seated well, and then put the nuts back on to the bolts themselves. You're ready to tighten it up. Here's a nice little thing to do. Take a ratchet wrench. Open-end wrench will work, but a ratchet wrench is good because it will help to keep you from actually cracking that porcelain. Once that's in place, reattach your water supply line, turn on the water, and you're ready to go.
Great. Well, this is some good tips, and as you can see, it's not that hard of a project to do, regardless of the situation that's requiring you to remove a toilet. Hopefully, these tips will help make this a simple solution. Stay with us. As we mentioned earlier in the show, as part of this interior renovation project, we're also upgrading the air conditioning and heating system, particularly our air cleaner. Now, here to talk with us about it is David Brunson, our heating and cooling contractor. David, our homeowners are real concerned about controlling that dust because of the allergies that their children have. Tell us how this will really help the situation out.
Well, what we're doing here is installing electronic air cleaners, which is one of the finest type filtration systems you can have. Tell you a little bit about how it works.
Okay.
What we have are positive charged plates. Of course, the dust particles are negatively charged. So the positive plates draw all the dust and hold it to where none passes through. Also, you have a standard throwaway filter built into these to catch any of the real large particles that might happen to come through.
Okay, well, I'm sure this standard filter would have to be changed, like most filters, once a month, which is recommended.
Correct.
What about the cleaning of the other units?
Well, the plates you need to clean 2 or 3 times a year, depending on the amount of dust. And they are washable, and they slide out, and they slide right back in.
Good, good. Well, you know, if you have a new air conditioning system going in, that's an ideal time to install an air cleaning system like this, but they also can be retrofit with a existing system as well. What about cost on something like that, David, in terms of an existing system retrofitting this in?
Depending on the job, because there are different applications, you know, different places, it can range anywhere from $600 to $1,200.
Okay. Now this unit will slip right under this one. You'll have to raise this one up.
Correct. All this will have to be raised up to accommodate the air cleaner to go underneath. They have to be installed on the return side where your filter would normally be located, so it can catch all of the return air and filter the system correctly.
Okay. All right. Now I know you have a different service coming out to actually clean all of the ductwork, because it wouldn't do a whole lot of good to put this type of system in unless we clean the existing ductwork.
That's correct. We want to get all of the dust and particles that's in the system now. We'll get all of that completely clean, the air handlers, everything. And when we have our new startup with the new electronic air cleaners, then we'll prevent it from ever getting back in the duct system.
Okay, all right. Well, what about the new system you have going in here? I know this is, of course, much easier installation on this particular unit, and the unit will sit right on top of that, but I guess some rerouting of lines will be needed.
Right, we'll move some of these around, get them routed back where they look a lot better and work a little bit more efficiently. We're going to rewrap all of the duct system, and some of this is still going to be coming out.
Okay, yeah, you can see a lot of the debris and dust that are in those existing systems.
That's right. That's what collects in them.
Okay, good. And to emphasize how important it is to have good filtration, you may be surprised to learn that every cubic foot of air you have in the house passes through this filtering system at least 4 times an hour. Well, David, you've got a heater system here as well as the air conditioning, but we have a fireplace downstairs that was just installed yesterday. I'm going to go take a look at it. Adjacent to the kitchen in this house is a nice large den, and the homeowners decided to make it a little cozier by adding a fireplace. Now this is a direct vent gas unit that was installed just yesterday, and this is a perfect unit for most remodeling projects because it takes up very little room and you're able to position it within just 1 inch of a combustible surface. Also, you're able to vent this unit through the rear and on out through the attic and through the roof. So it minimizes the amount of room that it takes up. And also, by not having the chase that goes up directly from the top of the unit, gives you some great decorating opportunities. This particular case, we're building some bookcases on each side, and we'll have a large wood mantel or shelf on top. Be perfect for a piece of artwork, sculpture, or big flower arrangement. In the past, in some of the other units we've used like this, we've used granite or marble on top, which matches the marble or granite that we use around the face of the fireplace. Also, you might be surprised how many BTUs of heat you can get out of a unit like this. And if you're a little lazy, it's even available with a remote control that you're able to control the flame from across the room. That's all we need in our den is one more remote. Stay with us. Next, our best new products.
It's time to check out the Home Center for this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine's editor-in-chief, Paul Spring.
You know, every house needs a ladder, and Paul's brought us a real unique one here today. Tell us about it, Paul.
Be glad to, Danny. This is the result of the Werner Ladder Company, which makes a lot of industrial ladders, turning their engineers loose on a common household step ladder and doing it right. Let me take it from the bottom up. It starts with these splayed feet. They call it the penguin ladder, and it's very fitting. These not only provide stability, but they're not going to scratch the floor. They're a non-mar surface. They use a tubular aluminum. It's very strong. In this case, kind of an oval shape, but very easy to grip on your way up. There's also deep texturing in the steps here. This is just basic safety on any ladder. And there's a no-pinch hinge. You're not going to be able to catch your hand in this, and you can just raise the shelf and up comes the ladder so you can take it out of the way and store it.
You know, it's also great the way they put the tray up here. Any platform ladder needs a tray, but this one's a little unique in that it lifts right out, has handles. You're able to carry it around as a tool caddy. But another thing I realized that they've done here to help out the painters in the house is to make an indentation here that actually will hold a full gallon of paint.
It's a very handy ladder. It's the kind of thing from window washing to painting that you can really use around the house. It comes in a 2-step version at about $70, and for a 3-step, it's about $100.
Well, like I said, every house needs a ladder. This may be a good one for your house. Well, this is the location for the new security panel that'll be installed in a few days for a brand new security system. On the job today is Jim Reeves, our security consultant. Well, Jim, there's a lot of activity out on the job today, but it's actually a good time for your people to be here to run all the wires for the security system.
That is correct. It's an excellent time with the walls open the way they are. We have channels in the ceiling that have been opened up. We can get the wire down easily to the points where we need to protect doors and windows and other devices.
Okay. What are some things that a homeowner needs to consider when they're thinking about a security system? There's a lot to consider, isn't there?
There are a lot of different things to consider in selecting the equipment, but the main things we want the homeowner to consider in protecting, first of all, the doors. Entry doors are the primary source of burglaries in the homes. Next are windows on the back of the house, maybe kitchen windows or bathroom windows that may be left unlocked, and then the rest of the windows, followed by protecting the interior of the house with some type of interior or glass break coverage.
Okay.
And especially smoke and fire detection is another concern that people need to have.
Okay. Now, you're talking about glass breakage. I know motion detectors are a big part of it. I thought I saw one. Yeah, here it is, here. This is actually, what, an infrared type?
This is an infrared motion detector, and it's designed to be used primarily when you're away from the house. It's located typically in a family room and would give real good coverage in the area where your electronics and sound system is located.
Okay, and then this is the glass breakage.
The glass breakage detector is designed also for use either when you're at home or away. This particular type will exclude a lot of the various sounds that people normally make in the house and can be used while they're there.
Okay. Now, a real basic system can just have to where when an area is violated, a siren comes on, hopefully scaring people off. But really, a monitored system is a lot better way to go.
The monitored system is a lot better way. First of all, with the system, you'll get noise from your keypad. Second, you'll have the sirens going outside and inside the house. And then the last is the monitoring response. The signal is sent to the central station. They in turn notify the police and the fire department to provide response to your house. They also notify you that the alarm has gone off.
Okay. Yeah, that has to be a lot better as far as protecting your house and belongings as well.
That's correct. The insurance companies will also give you a better discount normally if you have a monitored system.
Okay. Now, some of these systems can get fairly elaborate, even tying into some of the home automation type systems, I understand. Tell us about that.
That's correct. This particular system will allow you to turn various lights on in the house when you enter, when you're coming in and the house is dark. When you turn the system on, either through the remote keypad, certain lights will come on. When you leave the house, the lights will be turned off. It can be set up to provide other types of home automation, either through appliance modules of this nature, so that coffee pots can be turned on and off at various intervals.
Okay. I understand also in some of the controllers with the switching that's available works real well with that same system.
That's correct.
Okay.
This one will also, the light switches can be turned on and off. Other devices outside, pumps and equipment can be turned on and off through your home automation system.
Good. Well, there's a lot to learn about security system, but it is a good peace of mind when you have a system in place and it's working well when you have to leave your house for any reason. And I know you have plenty to do, so I'll let you get to that. And stay with us next, Around the Yard segment.
Now for a bit of news from the great outdoors as Danny takes a look around the yard.
Now, any gardener usually cringes when they hear the word weeds, especially if you're thinking about pulling them out by hand. So generally, you will use some type of tool. Conventional hoe works fairly well to chop and loosen the soil, but to really get the weeds out, I found another type of hoe that works great. It's called a stirrup hoe. As the name implies, the hoe has a double-edged blade that looks like a stirrup and is hinged to rock back and forth with a push-pull motion. It's a more precise, all-purpose weeding tool, and it's a lot easier on the back. It slices weeds at the crown of the weeds in compact or loose soil. Now, if you catch the weeds just as they're emerging, it practically eliminates the bending, stooping, and squatting associated with routine weeding. The hoe is real easy to control so that you can weed right up close to those precious plants without harming them. Stirrup hoes are available at almost any garden center or hardware store for about $20 to $25, and it may be just the tool you need to avoid getting on your hands and knees and pulling those weeds. Well, there's been a lot of hardwood installed on this job so far, and there's a lot more to go, because as I mentioned earlier, there's over 3,000 square feet being installed just on this job. After that, we can get our drywall finished, install our trim, then we'll be looking for a painter.